guys, welcome back to another video. I'm Shah and this is Thoroughly Enjoyed Books. Today I'm going to be doing a video that I don't actually think I've done before. I'm doing a reading vlog specifically for one book, and that one book is Normal People by Sally Rooney. So I recently watched the TV show of this, loved it, and I had actually read the book last year and absolutely adored it. It was probably my favourite book of the year. Actually, I think it was definitely my favourite book of the year. And I've just had this desire to reread it. I don't have my own copy physically, and they're all quite expensive actually. It's quite an expensive book to get a hold of. I'd really love to have one of the hardback editions, but that ain't gonna happen. So I requested it from my library, and then I was discussing it with Shannon over 155 books, and we decided to set a day that we would both read it, and then we decided to both vlog it. So this is my vlog. I mean, I've said she's gonna vlog it. I don't know if she actually will ultimately. I've got no control over her. She might change her mind. But if she does upload one, I'll leave a link in the description box to that down below. So go check that out. So we've decided today's the day we're going to reread Normal People. It's very easy to read in a day, and because we're rereading it, I expect it to be even quicker. So it came in from my library. I have got 3 weeks to read this, so I might end up reading it like 2 or 3 times. There's 146 pages on my ebook, and that's like full size iPad pages. I am back at work today for the last few days off, but I'm working from home, so I am going to do about half an hour reading it now before I start work, because it's just before 8:30. So we will see where the day takes me and how much of this I managed to get read. So I'm only on page 2, but already it's like word for word the same as the TV show, which is great. And I'm now like reading it with their voices in mind from the TV show and their faces in mind from the TV show. This is going to be so much fun. It's about 1:30 now, and I'm about to take my lunch break. Usually when I'm working from home, I have quite a healthy lunch, but because I planned on reading Normal People this lunchtime, I made something really quick. And I've got a little Asian-inspired noodle pot from Aldi. These are delicious. I love them. This is the hoisin duck flavoured one, which is vegetarian, believe it or not. I've got my iPad, and I'm going to do about half an hour of reading, and I cannot wait. I'm about 30 pages into this at the minute, and hopefully I can get to around 50 on my lunch break. We'll see. But I'm really excited to be reading this because I love it even more. Like, it's word for word almost. Like 95% is word for word what happens in the TV show. So I'm just hearing it in Connell and Marianne's accents in the TV show, and I'm picturing all of the scenes in my head. I love it. So I'm just gonna eat my dindins and do some reading. There's a scene in the book that isn't in the TV show where Connell goes to visit his grandmother in hospital after she had a fall, and there's somebody coughing in the next ward, and all I can think is, oh no, don't get COVID, and that wasn't even around like at the time of this book. So just shows how everyday life slips into things and how real this book feels. So I've just finished rereading my favourite scene. It's my favourite scene in the TV show. I just feel like that moment encapsulates the whole theme of the book. Everything that happens in this book is encapsulated in this one scene. Actually, I think the TV show does it a bit better. I think the language used is a bit more precise. I think it gives the power of it across a little bit more. But it's the scene where Lorraine confronts Connell in the car for asking Rachel to the Debs instead of Marianne. And I just think it is that perfect mix of, you know, showing Connell's shame, showing his confusion, talking about how other people view him, and I think it's just the best scene. It's such a pivotal scene in this book because you suddenly see how Connell is torn between his mum and his friends and Marianne, and he's not quite sure who he needs to appeal, and he's kind of realising that he can't appeal to everybody. I just love the scene so much. I've finished work now for the day and I'm gonna get through the rest of Normal People by Sally Rooney. I'm already about 50 pages in, so I'm getting through it really quick. I am just finding myself so stressed, so much stress, so much anxiety. I feel like I'm shaking. I just need to calm. So before I do any more reading, I am going to have a quick play on Animal Crossing, maybe for about half an hour, and then I'm going to get down to reading. Tonight I was going to cook a nice meal, but I think instead I'm just going to have some curry that I made the other day because I made enough of that to last me about a fortnight. And I'm going to have a nice relaxing bath and read my book in the bath because it's actually been quite a while since I did any reading in the bath. I am really enjoying Normal People though, obviously. It's still my favourite book. Probably loving it even more this time. As you can probably tell, and probably would have deduced if you know me at all, I have completely failed at this reading a book in a day challenge. After work, I fell asleep and then I had a video call with my friend for 2 hours. So that is 3 hours of reading I could have been doing and I would have finished the book, which annoys me. I'm just running a bath now. I had some leftover curry for dinner. I didn't have enough at all, but it's fine. So I'm now going to take my box of chocolates that I bought myself to the bath with my copy of Normal People on my iPad. And I'm just going to sit in there until I'm at least page 100. And then that'll hopefully mean that I can read the last 80 pages because I upped the size, so the pages have got shorter and therefore there's more of them on the iPad. Hopefully I'll still get it done tonight. If I haven't got it done tonight, I'll at least get it done tomorrow. It's fine. I don't need to worry about that. It's bath time and chocolate time. I bought myself a box of milk tray at the shop the other day as a treat for myself, but I also bought myself these, and I think I'm actually going to eat these ones first because I don't want to break into these yet. Earlier on about worrying about the corona. The corona. As it transpires, I'm absolutely awful at doing vlogs and reading challenges where I read a book in one day. I mean, it didn't help that I was working today and I had scheduled in some time with my friend. However, I thought I'd do a lot better than this because this is my favourite book, but I'm really savouring it at the minute. I'm currently 52 pages in, which is nothing, of 186. So what I'm going to do now is just sit back and read for the rest of the night. Try and get it done, not kill myself if I don't get it done. And if I don't get it done, I'll just continue it tomorrow. So this might be a 2-day vlog. It is what it is, unfortunately. I can't get this bit to stop flickering, so try and ignore that, sorry. So you might have noticed that I didn't finish Normal People last night. Me and Shannon had set aside Tuesday to read all of Normal People in a day and vlog it and see what we thought about it. However, I didn't do that because I think I now have post-uni exhaustion, and I said this to Shannon and she said she 100% remembers that, so we're in agreement that that is what happened. I got post-uni exhaustion and couldn't read it. So it's now Thursday, I didn't read anything yesterday or Wednesday either, and I'm working at home again. So what I'm doing is I've put the audiobook on Scribd because it's on Scribd, and I'm listening to it from the beginning again, and when I get to the point that I am in the book, I am going to start reading the book alongside the audiobook and do it that way. So I am planning on getting it done today because my readathon is starting tonight at midnight, so I want to have nothing currently reading for that. Then I'm going to start my audiobook or my non-fiction book. I haven't quite decided which one I'll start at midnight yet, and do a little reading sprint. Very much looking forward to getting Normal People read today, starting the history-a-thon tomorrow, which is going to be so much fun, and I'll probably end up watching Normal People again at some point this weekend. I'm on chapter 4 of the audiobook now, and I just thought I'd come in and give a few thoughts on how the audiobook is. So I love the fact that the audiobooks are told by an Irish narrator, which just adds so much to the books. I can hear the voices in my head, and even though the narrator obviously isn't the actors in the show, I can still kind of hear the characters' voices in my head like I'm used to from the TV show, which is fantastic. I love it. I am just hooked by this. Even though I've now read the book twice pretty much, I am listening to it the third time and I'm still picking up on things that I hadn't noticed, and this book this book. I will rave about this book for the rest of my life. I keep getting to the exact same point in this book and then stopping and just not being able to read it. Like, I keep getting to the scene just after they're at uni and reconnect. I just can't read it anymore because I know how painful it gets at this point. My favourite scene is still the scene where Lorraine confronts Connell in the car. I just think it's perfect. I can't get past it. I have now finished work for the bank holiday weekend. It's VE day tomorrow, so we're having a bank holiday on a Friday instead of Monday. And I am all prepared to do my history-a-thon readathon, except I still have half of Normal People that I need to read. So I've been listening to the audiobook today and I've just about caught up with where I was in the book. So my plans for the rest of the evening are to continue listening to the audiobook of Normal People. I've got it on my iPad as well. I do have a quiz night this evening with my friends, so I need to have this done by about 7 o'clock. So I've got 2.5 hours left, which isn't too long. I should be able to get it done in that time. So I'm just going to go now and listen to the audiobook and read along with it and hopefully get this finished. I'm really excited about it. At another point that is one of my favourites in the book, and it is toward the end. It's in apparently chapter 16 according to the audiobook, even though the chapters aren't really numbered. But this chapter is where Connell and Marianne basically start talking about the miscommunication between them. So they've just been on a night out in their hometown. I think it's following Rob's funeral, and they're talking about when Connell went out to the smoking area, and Marianne said she felt really awkward when he left her there, and he says, but I asked you if you wanted to come out. And she's like, no, you didn't. You just said you were going. And it kind of brings up that whole dynamic that they have between them about how they can't communicate and they're always misunderstanding. And it's the first time that that's really acknowledged. Even though the whole time we're reading this, we're very much aware that so much of this book, so much of the drama between them is caused through this miscommunication and the fact that they don't quite say what they want to say, or they twist things, or they misunderstand and they don't clarify with each other when they misunderstand something. They just make assumptions. And I think it's mentioned a lot in the time that they were making assumptions, but they never actually acknowledge the fact that they're misunderstanding one another. So this point of the book is so pivotal because I think this is the point where they both realise how much they mean to each other and how much they truly, deeply love each other. It's such a painful scene for me because I just think how much could have been different, how much of this thing could have been resolved so much earlier on in the book. I think it goes on to discuss, you know, her relationships and how she's been treated by other people and why she's allowed herself, I hate that term, like she has been. And I just think it's such a beautiful moment and means a lot. And I've got maybe an hour left of the audiobook. It's my favourite book. It is my favourite book. Next to oranges, not the end fruit. So it is 10 o'clock and I've just got off a Zoom call with my friends where we did a DIY quiz where basically everybody brought their own round. And I won! I'm so happy. I've always come quite close to winning but never quite do it. And this time, I did it. I did it. Let me just have a look at my audiobook because I don't know how long I've got left. Apparently I've only got 59 minutes left of audiobook, so I'm very nearly finished. I'm going to go and read this and I'm going to come back to you with my thoughts about it. I might have a bath as well. No, it's too late for a bath. I'm still on the scene where they're having the heart-to-heart in the bedroom and trying to decide what they do with their relationship and talking about how much, you know, they value their friendship and how it maybe would have been easier if they hadn't slept together and how do they work out from here. And my heart can't take it. It's not funny. It's really, really intense. I just love this scene. Sally Rooney, what do you do to me? The weird thing is, I still don't like conversations with friends as much as I love this book and what it does, and it's 100% in my top 3 favourite books ever. Something with Conversations with Friends just didn't click with me, but this book resonates with me on so many levels. I forgot how intense that this gets, and how the years of abuse that have been alluded to and that we've seen, you know, snippets of the emotional and the aggression. We've never seen the violence that her family inflict upon her. We're told that her dad used to hit her. And we can see that Alan maybe has hit her in the past, or he's been very aggressive. He's a piece of shit, basically. But we've never actually seen him hit her. And at this point, when he... I mean, I don't think it explicitly says he breaks her nose, but, you know, I think it's implied, the amount of blood that is there when he hits the door in her face. It's so intense how it comes from nowhere, and then how he tries to tell her not to blame him and it's not his fault. It's so intense, it's so raw, it's so real. Like, this is what a domestic abuse is like in a household. When I watched the TV show and I watched this scene, I flinch. And when I read this book first time, I flinched. And reading it again, I you know, I knew it was coming, and I was just tense trying to read it. I mean, you probably saw that in the read with me, but you've just seen. I've got 2 chapters left now. I'm just gonna let the camera film me and see how it goes. Something I've just noticed in the book, and I'm really interested if you've read this and have got a copy, maybe grab it, because I need to check this with you. But I have no idea what the therapist's name is in the show or the first time I read it. But because I'm reading along to the audiobook, does that make sense? As in, my library have downloaded a copy for me and I have that out now, and Scribd have the audiobook, so I'm using both of those to get through it. The audiobook is calling her the therapist, Yvonne, but the ebook that I've got is calling her Gillian. So what name have you got in your edition? I'm going to text Shannon in a second and ask her, because I'm confused. I mean, it isn't a big deal, and I've literally just noticed it now, so I don't know if it's an error. I'm not going to go back and reread. I did a review of this on my previous channel, which was just before I closed that one down and started this channel, so I still have the footage. I might download it and re-upload it or something. There's a quote here that I want to read that at the time really resonated with me, and I've just read it now and it hit me again, and then I've realised that I talked about it before, so I just want to read it again because it still hits in the same way. This is after they have had a conversation and Marianne has run home, and Connell is thinking that this is going to be the last straw. They're not going to be able to make this work ever again. What's left for them then? There doesn't seem to be a halfway position anymore. Too much has passed between them for that. So it's over and they're just nothing. What would it even mean to be nothing to her? He could avoid her, but as soon as he saw her again, even if they only glanced at one another outside the lecture hall, the glance could not contain nothing. He could never really want it to. He has sincerely wanted to die, but he has never sincerely wanted Marianne to forget about him. That's the only part of himself he wants to protect, the part that exists inside her. Oh, it's just that whole thing, you know. I think everybody has that moment after a breakup where they feel that, but I think it's even more poignant when that feeling is for a friendship or something that never quite was, or you were never quite sure. I mean, there's one particular relationship, not a romantic relationship, that I feel this very deeply with. It was a friendship that meant a lot to me that went sour very, very quickly. It hits me differently now because so much time has passed. I think at the time of this, it'd only been maybe about 6 months. Somebody has this much of an impact on you, and somebody has been around for these massively important things. You know, what is your life like without them? And I guess that's the question of the whole book, is what would these characters' lives be without one another? Everything they do is so ingrained with each other. It hits me. Another really beautiful scene is right at the end when they go to a New Year's Eve party, and it's the first time, we've gone through all this book, but it's the first time that Connell is willing to show how he feels about Marianne in public, and it's around all of his school friends. It's around Eric, who he thought was judging him. It's around Karen, who kind of had an inkling, she knew, and kind of encouraged Marianne in a way. And the fact that so early on in the book, Connell was convinced that they cared so much about what was going on, and it was such an embarrassment, and now they've gone to this party together and everyone seems so happy for them, and everyone is so curious that, you know, they're still, after all this time, trying to make it work. We're into the last 5 minutes now, so I'm just going to film me listening and reading to the last 5 minutes because Tia's gonna cry. I finished it again and I love it so much. Like, there are no words for how much I love this book. It's absolutely incredible. The raw emotion and the absolute breathtaking chemistry between them. This is a book that I think so many people misunderstand, and I think so many people who rate this book so low always say the same thing, that it's, you know, it's just like every other romance, it's nothing new, it's no big deal, it's boring. And I'm like, you've missed so much. There is so much in this book to like unpick. I've read you just a few quotes and the whole thing is just absolutely breathtaking to me. I don't know how to put my love for this book into words. I mean, I've picked out some scenes throughout it that I really enjoy, and obviously you can make what you want from those scenes, but I just think it's a masterpiece, and I think the TV show captures it all so well. I just don't have any words. Hope you enjoyed this vlog of me rereading Normal People by Sally Rooney. I absolutely adore it. I think I'm going to do a few videos over the next few weeks about this, so this is my rereading vlog. I probably will do another review, a more in-depth review about it. I'm also considering doing a review of the TV show, so like comparing the TV show and the book, because they're pretty much word for word, and maybe that'll allow me to talk a little bit more about certain points. I think this book's absolutely phenomenal. I was reading it with Shannon finished it earlier today, and we both just realised how much we love this book, and I think we both loved it even more the second time, and I think it's really special when that's the case. There's just something about this book that I know will always stick with me. It just means a lot to me. Thank you for watching. As usual, I'll leave all my links in the description box down below. Come and follow me on Goodreads and Twitter and all that good stuff. I can't wait to see you in another video very soon. Take care.